Welcome to another Tech Talk by Unconventional Solutions, your go-to podcast for latest insights in the world of anti-corrosion coatings and repair materials. Um, I'm Chris. I'm going to be kind of directing us today. We're doing a little bit different than our typical kind of Tech Talk. We're going to go over solutions, have just open-ended questions. Everybody's mics are on, so you can unmute yourself if you do have any questions. And we're going to kind of jump into client scenarios that we've run into. A lot of the things we do, there's a dozen different solutions for. None of them are necessarily bad. Some are better. And depending on what exactly you have going on, there could be a couple different ways that we could tackle that problem. So I'm going to start with one of the issues that my client brought to me last week. So he had a 6-inch diameter pipe, 20 feet long, had completely corroded away. They were cutting the whole thing out. They were replacing the whole thing. What they got from the manufacturer was just a bare metal steel pipe. And he wanted to protect it. And he essentially said to me, I want to be able to coat this in something, bury it, and not worry about it for the next 40 years. The pipe itself was running at about 180 degrees and about 30 psi. And it was just water running through it. So, Nick, what would you have suggested to that client as products that could, fit that application?
Off the top of my cuff, I would have suggested either resin metal 501, or I would have suggested Denso's Protol 7200 is what I would have recommended off the top.
Good recommendations, Nick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I did something similar. He was already looking at SPC and has had more experience with like polyurethane coatings than epoxy coatings. So we were talking about the 3888, which is a high temp version of the 2888, which is very similar to the 7200. Then he went into, I haven't operated a sandblaster in years. So he wanted to kind of avoid that service prep piece. From there, what would you have suggested if the customer said, "Oh, that's a great product, but I really don't want to have to sandblast it and get it down to that bare metal"?
I mean, I think you could still get away with minimal surface prep with the 501. I'd probably still just lean that direction.
And I can hop in here if you'd like another opinion.
Go for it, Bobby.
So I was thinking, now correct me if I'm wrong, the Visco Wrap HT, minimal surface prep it, and can be wrapped. I'm sorry, I'm hearing a little bit of an echo, so I can hear myself. All right, there we go. That's much better. Yeah, so they can feel comfortable wrapping it in the viscoelastic wrap. It's self-healing. There's no primer needed. Minimum surface prep required. And then I know you said covered, so wrap it in either a PVC or a Denso glass outer wrap. And now the outer wrap, I believe the PVC can handle that temperature as long as the HT is down first. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Bobby, and actually, the hotter you get with Viscotech, the more we tend to lean toward the glass outer wrap.
Okay,
but
great.
One question for you, Chris, that I don't know if the customer told you or not. Is this going to be below grade or above grade when all is said and done? Are they burying this pipe below grade?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he wants to rebury it. At least that's when Chris said, rebury it and then not worry about it for the next 40, 50 years or until he's gone.
Yeah, he phrased it as, I don't want to have to worry about it until I'm dead. I said 40 years.
Optimistic for him. That's nice.
No, that's a great recommendation then, Bobby. The Viscotech, it's peel and stick, easy to apply technology. The glass outer wrap will give you a higher temperature rating up to about 240 degrees. So that'd be a good way to go.
And that's actually exactly what I suggested to the customer. Ultimately, they went with the 2888, which can handle up to 185 degrees continuous or temperatures, which was suggested by the manufacturer after we had talked about doing the 3888.
Did they use a bristle blaster at all?
Nope, they actually ended up hiring a secondary sandblasting company to come in and
That's
sandblast.
great. Good thought.
I'm curious, just for conversational reasons, would the 7900 work? That's a high temp, right? I know he wasn't very familiar with the epoxy, you said, Chris, but would a 7900 work? Would that be an option, Doug?
That'd be good up to about 298 or 305, I believe.
Okay. Okay, cool. So that could have been an option. And then what about the tape coat 6025? I know it's a tape that's high temp. I'm not very familiar with it, so, and I know we don't have it in stock, so that would be the last recommendation I have. But I'm just thinking on terms of high temp corrosion control systems, if that would be one as well.
That one I would recommend we pull out the data sheet on because I'm not familiar with it either, Bobby.
Okay, cool. No worries. I know I know most of the tape coats require Omni primer and such, and so I don't know if that would be even something we'd want to get into, but I just was curious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And actually, another topic to be aware of is if you're calling on hospitals or big steel mills or any place that has filters, bag houses tend to see a lot of corrosion and are often neglected. And Nick, the product you recommended, the 501, would be a real good product for lining the inside of a bag house that's seeing corrosion damage. And then for the outside of the bag house, you could use your Resinox 555 and develop and help some clients that way.
Right. Did anyone else have a scenario that they want to put out there? Hypothetical or something that a customer had asked?
I can throw one out there. So I had a customer reach out to me with chilled water lines, what did they call it? It's like a condensation or evaporating condensator or something along those lines. I mean, I can't remember the name of the technology of it with it right now, but regardless, it's an expansion compensator. That's what it was. So it moves with the pipe as the pipe expands and contracts, right? And allows for that contraction to occur. That's running probably around under 120 psi. And temperature wise, it's just ambient temperature. There's no real heat to it at all. So what had happened is there's a flange on either side of this expansion compensator, and there was a pinhole leak, and the water was dripping and coming off of where the flange and the pipe meet, and they were having issues with getting it to stop. So if anybody wants to throw out what they think they would use, then let me know.
So was the pipe itself expanding and contracting and like moving?
With temperature changes, the pipes will move, and this expansion compensator is designed to compensate for that movement, right? So if the pipe moves in, it scrunches down, and if the pipe moves out, it expands. It's kind of like an accordion, if you can imagine that.
And you're repairing it where it's doing that movement.
Nope, on the outside of it where the flange is, where you've got the solid pipe going into the flange.
And we're repairing just a pinhole leak.
Yep.
Active leak. Can they stop the water, or is it going to be continuing to leak?
They can shut it down.
I would have suggested a 103 to stop the leak, and then 108 to go over it and hold that repair in place.
Fair enough.
And the 108, Nick, would give you hoop strength, while the 103 would fill the pinhole. And
Correct.
because it can shut it down, you might even V out that hole a little bit, so you can really push that 103 in as much as possible. And that's really what we did at Cleveland Cliffs / Severstal Steel back in 2006.
Oh, nice, absolutely perfect. So
Yeah.
they tried 103 and 108 in the beginning. Oh, Chris, were you going to say something?
I was gonna say at 120, I would probably also put eFusion over that 103
Yeah,
to
good
give it
idea.
some additional strength.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love the idea. So they kind of did this repair a few times over, and it's lack of surface prep, lack of knowledge, and then finally figuring out the right way to get things done, right? So it's super important that all of our customers understand we do provide the technical support, the training, and the troubleshooting. So don't be afraid to ask questions, and I'm going to make sure I do everything in my power to teach you, whether it's a virtual meeting like this or in person, showing you how to get these products on your solutions. But we tried 103, we tried 108, it didn't work. It still had a leak. It still dripped. We tried 103 eFusion and 108 still had a leak. It still dripped.
Did you try the 301 system?
We did not go that far yet. We ended up trying 106 and 108 and ended up having success with it. And it was unique because the 106 is one of those ones that dries in a wet environment. And I think that's maybe what the catalyst was that was preventing this thing from really sealing up. But by using the 106 and then coupling back behind that with the 108 pipe wrap, it's been a great success story from there on out. And that was a little over 14 months ago now.
That's great. Way to troubleshoot.
Nice.
Sometimes there's a little trial and error involved with some things, right? You got to pick and choose, and you do your best up front to make sure that you're getting the right recommendation based on the parameters that you have set forth. But that's what's unique about this job is that everything's a little bit different, and everybody's situation is going to be a little bit different, and the repairs are always going to be just a little bit different.
Do you think that the 106 being more of like a paste and not a Tootsie Roll made it like get into the pinhole a little bit better? They're able
I
to
think that
push it
maybe
in.
helped it flow fluid wise into the crack or crevice that was causing the issue a little bit better. I think that's exactly right because you can only push so hard with your finger before if you're meeting a flange in a pipe, there's not always a lot of room to work. So sometimes having something fluid flow down in really can make the big difference for you. Good point, Chris.
Great.
Could you have used to stop it?
I'm thinking, Bobby, based on Nick's first experience with 103 and 108, I would have gone a different direction like he did.
Okay.
Cool. It's not a perfect science, leak repair. So if first you don't succeed, try again.
That's it. 100%. Leaks are crazy.
Yeah, leaks aren't like putting a coating on a new construction pipeline project or a monolithic seamless membrane up on top of a roof. So there's a little bit more trial and error to it.
Awesome.
Great.
This has been great.
Well, hey, thanks everybody for sharing.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you everyone for tuning into this episode of USI Tech Talks. If you need any expert guidance, you can visit our website at usigroups.com, or you can give us a call at 248-735-7000. Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.